friends. Hopefully you all are having a wonderful holiday season. The season around these parts known as the time for festive fixtures. Because as we wind down 2024, I thought I would provide you all with a very special Christmas gift this year. Surely better than anything you're going to find under the tree. It's a Zander's Facts Soccer update because there is a lot to discuss at the moment in the world of football. So I've brought in our very own Zander's Facts soccer guru, Emma Adams, is joining this episode of Zander's Facts to break down all the biggest headlines in the game. We are talking the Premier League in England. It's the midpoint, just about, of that competition over across the pond, and we are predicting who we think is going to win the league at the end of the season when that happens in May. We're also talking Champions League in Europe as the first round of that competition is soon to come to a close. And we also have a little bit to say about our beloved U.S. men's national team. Yes, we do. We also talk about England. And we are also talking about the sites for the recently announced future FIFA World Cups in 2030 and 2034. Something you wouldn't think is controversial, but FIFA decided to make it so. So we're going to talk about all of that as we head into a very exciting 2025 in the game of soccer. That is all coming up on episode 143 of Zander's Facts, a fact-filled soccer spectacle to wrap up the year. So let's get to the facts.
Zander's Facts.
So before we begin, just wanted to put it out there that, it's a very busy time of the year. Lots of things have been going on, lots of sports to watch. So have I been giving soccer my full, undivided attention as it deserves? Unfortunately, I have not. So what we've done on this episode of Zander's Facts is we have brought in someone who does give soccer their undivided attention. That is our very own Zander's Facts soccer aficionado, Emma Adams. Emma, how are you? How excited are you for these upcoming festive fixtures? It's incredible.
I am so excited. We've got about 3 weeks or so left of our break, so it's time to really sit on the couch for the next 21 days and watch soccer. So I'm very excited.
That's all I have planned, actually, until whenever mid-January, and when I have to get back at it, that's all I'm doing is sitting on the couch and watching soccer.
It's the holiday spirit. So yeah, I'm really excited. There's a lot of fun matches coming up. So
I think so. There's a lot of reasons for Emma Adams to be excited. We're gonna talk about it in a little bit. But on this episode of Zander's Facts, we're going to break down all the biggest headlines that are going on in the soccer world across the world right now. We're going to talk about the Premier League in England. We're going to talk about the Champions League in Europe. The league phase is still going on. We're going to talk about some future international competitions, our beloved U.S. men's national team, and England. And the future sites of the World Cups in 2030 and 2034 were just released, and we've got some hot takes, I'm pretty sure, that we need to get out. I don't know if they're hot takes, actually. They might be cold takes.
Yeah. They're very,
I don't think they're very hot. So we're gonna get into all of it. Let's start, though, in Emma's beloved United Kingdom, in England. With the Premier League, Emma's got a lot of reason to be excited, as I said, because her beloved Liverpool, if you take a look at the table, they are tops at the moment, and they've got a game in hand over most of the teams, which is pretty crazy. The crazy part about it is, Emma, none of us, back at the beginning of the season, we both made our predictions for who was going to win the Premier League. None of us had Liverpool. I don't even know where we had them. The graphic is up, people can see. But they've got a brand new manager, which I guess you really never know what's going to happen. But just talk to me about why they have been doing so well this season, because they look like the best team in England. They look like one of, if not the best team in Europe right now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think, obviously, like you said, none of us expected the table to look anything remotely closely to how it looks right now, I would say, except for United being somewhere in the middle of the table. I think we expected that. But
that's mean.
I think that coming into the season, we didn't think there was anyone that could live up to the legacy of Jurgen Klopp and how he's transformed Liverpool within his time there. And we didn't know much about Arne Slot, the new manager. We didn't really know how he would come in and replace him. And the only thing we really had hope going is that he's Dutch and we have a few Dutch players. And, like, okay, he's good. But he was very unproven and we didn't really know how the players were going to handle this. And I think what has been the biggest change is like the ability to kind of maintain a lead. Because I'd say Klopp ball was kind of more fun to watch. It was a little more risky. But slot ball, you've seen like kind of just winning the game and like being able to hold possession, hold the ball, maintain a lead instead of a little more. It might not be it might not be high scoring. It might not be pretty, but it's just about the result, So I think that's the biggest difference that we've seen throughout the season. And then also kind of the depth of the team and finding, obviously last season Liverpool were very injury prone and there was a lot of time within the season we're playing like our youngsters and they found themselves to be proven and, we're still giving them playing time, but it's been a little more, a little less of that and, finding solid backups and building on a strong bench, which we didn't even need to do within the transfer window, but securing spots for the players that are already there. So it's been really fun to watch.
I'm sure. Was Jurgen Klopp the problem, Emma Adams? That can't be true. I love Jurgen. He would never be a problem.
I know. It cannot be true.
Yeah,
and I
think
love a hug. Me too. No, I don't think he's the problem, but I think, it's good to have change every once in a while, and especially when you've been playing at the same caliber for so many years, you need someone to come in and shake it up a little bit. So, and I mean, you could say the same about Manchester City right now.
I was just about to say.
Yeah. But you also like can't, because there was a time a few years ago when Liverpool got in a losing slump. And if you were to fire Jurgen there, you would have missed out on a lot. But at what point is a slump not a slump anymore? And it's just they need change,
That's true. We're going to talk about City in a little bit. Their manager's been there kind of a little while. But Liverpool, it's been pretty impressive. They've played 15 matches, which is one less than everybody except for Everton, I'm pretty sure. And they're still 2 points clear of second place, Chelsea. I don't know, Emma. I feel like we might owe Todd Bowley an apology because, we've been doing this podcast for a couple years now. And we were kind of making fun of Chelsea for what they were doing. They were signing players to like 10-year contracts. They were buying everybody. And it wasn't working for a while. But hey, you know what? Now it is. So I don't know what's going on. Tell me what's going on with them. But
I won't give them all of the credit yet because I still think they made some bad decisions with purchases
well, there's one big one in particular, but
There's one I am thinking about that is blonde. So that would be...
Well, he shaved his head, I think.
Oh.
Does he still have hair?
I don't know. But I think for the most part, as of now, their plan seems to be working. And I really hate that throwing money at things could be the answer in this scenario because it really goes against a lot of the heart of football. But something seems to be working,
Apparently. Well, they have... It looked like at the end of last season, things were turning around too under their manager, and they got rid of him. And now they have a new manager.
Yes.
But you brought up that man, Mikhailo Mudryk, also known on this podcast as Butterfly Boy. So he recently, this is not funny, he recently tested positive apparently for a prohibited substance in a drug
Yes.
test recently. So, number one, Emma, what do you think that prohibited substance was? Number one, big time question. And number two, number two, are Chelsea now better because they got this kid banned?
Oh, number one, whatever it is, you know,
You gotta guess. Who
I
knows what
he
they're doing
need,
in Ukraine right now?
yeah, he needs a refund on it because it wasn't working strong enough. So
It wasn't working anyway.
no,
It was not enhancing his performance.
at all whatsoever. Um, are they better for banning him? He wasn't getting too much playing time anyways, but yes, they are better without him, unfortunately. And because I do think they have they found Nicholas Jackson to be a successful player in their squad, and they've got a solid, like, I mean, Cole Palmer's notably the heart of that team,
Ice
and
cold.
ice cold. Even
He's
though he's just so funny, he has no aura like whatsoever, but he makes it work.
Well, it's crazy
Um,
because he's got 11 goals this season. He's
yeah,
third in the Premier League. Like
which is
he's actually a good player, and you should
yeah,
like that because he's an Englishman.
he is,
So
and I think he'll definitely be starting when it comes to when we come to the World Cup, hopefully in a few
got to talk to Tony
years.
about that.
And then you've got, the resurgence of Jadon Sancho. That's a big that's a big part of it right there, and kind of his revenge game almost. He was having to prove to a lot of people if he was good, and now he's in a team that fits him a lot better than United did. So, um, but I mean, all credit to them. They're a lot of fun to watch. They normally get the job done in a lot of cases recently, and somehow they made it work.
Somehow, I really don't know how.
Um,
I mean, look, we're like 16. We're about almost halfway through the season. Still a lot of
mhm.
soccer to be played, but right now it's they're looking okay. I'd say. I guess I don't know.
Yeah, and I don't look at many of their players and I'm like, wow, he's really good. Like if you look at like Real Madrid, even if they're not in the best run of form right now, you look at their players and you're like, wow, there's a lot of very good individual players on that team. When I look at Chelsea, I don't necessarily feel that way. And for me, that's almost a better sign because it means you're working together well, you know?
That's true. They're
So,
top. They're actually tied with Tottenham for top of the Premier League for goals per match, 2.3. If you're tied
mm,
with Tottenham, I don't know if that's great, but you know what? They're
they're getting
second.
better.
So
Yeah.
I would wager. Well, we're gonna do our top four predictions in a second. I don't think they're gonna finish second. Just me saying. I think
Yeah.
there's a couple other teams behind them that could bump up. This third is
Mhm.
Arsenal. They've kind of struck. I'm pretty sure both of us had Arsenal winning the league at the beginning of the year. I'm pretty sure that's a factual statement. Arsenal, they've been dropping points a lot recently. They've been undefeated in their last 5 league games, but especially in the Champions League, they've kind of struggled a bit.
Yeah.
When you're competing against Liverpool at the top, who seem like, I mean, they've drawn their last 2 games, but it feels like they can't lose. When you drop points, it kind of hurts you. And they have my guy King Kai, and I'm starting to think he might not be the king. I'm a little worried about him.
Mm, mm.
Well, they
Yeah.
just had their game or Wednesday in the League Cup against some team. Gabriel Jesus got a hat trick.
I saw that.
So
Yeah.
if you're Mikel Arteta, you're kind of like, well, I'd probably start him instead of Havertz.
I agree with that. I mean, yeah, I think right now their run of form is a bit confusing, I would say, because, yeah, they've drawn the last 2 league games, and the most notable draw was Everton. That was a bit, that's a game you need to win.
Ooh.
You have no reason to lose any points in that game. And then, yesterday they played it close with Palace in the cup. But otherwise, before this, they were doing pretty strong. But they're just unpredictable at the moment. And that's never really a good place to be.
Yeah. Another team that's kind of unpredictable is Tottenham. We're recording this on
Yeah.
Thursday, and we just saw that League Cup match between Tottenham and Manchester United, where Tottenham almost blew a. How many goals were they up by?
3-0 lead.
3-0 lead, and they won. And they won 4-3. The crazy part,
Mm-hmm.
if you look at the table, though, Tottenham has a 17. Their goal differential is 17, which is second best behind Liverpool and Chelsea, and they're 10th in the league.
Yeah,
Which
I
means
mean, the
they blow out.
past
I mean, they beat whoever, Southampton 5-0,
5.
but
Mm-hmm.
they also get blown out too.
Yeah, the past few games has not been representative of where you would think they are in the league. Yeah, especially that win over Southampton. They came close. They came close with Chelsea a few weeks ago. Drew to Fulham like Arsenal and Liverpool did, and then they thrashed City a few weeks ago, which is not as big as of a deal as it used to be, but still notable. Um, but then they draw with Rangers, they lose to Bournemouth, they barely beat United today, tied to Roma a few weeks ago. So there's someone that I think is going to go up in the table. Right now, I think they're sitting at 10th. But I would say they get Europe this year, but they're not going to get Champions League.
Oh, what a shame. Tottenham Hotspur. So,
Yeah.
you just mentioned City. City, let's have a conversation about Manchester
Mm-hmm.
City right now. They are
Mm-hmm.
5th in the Premier League. They are 9 points behind Liverpool at the moment. Liverpool, of course, has a game in hand as well. Their goal differential is 5. And let me just read you off. They've won just one match in their last 7 Premier League matches, and in their 11 last matches total, including, I guess, League, Cup, and Champions League, they've won 1 out of 11, which is an issue. So, and the fact that before they lost to Bournemouth November 2nd, which started this whole thing, they had won or drawn 32 consecutive matches, which is the 4th longest streak in league history. So you go from that to like a great run to something horrible, which is kind of what this is. They lost 4 straight, starting with that Bournemouth loss, which was their longest losing streak since 2008. So Emma, I'm like trying to figure out what is going on. Can you explain it to me, please? Because out of the last 7 years, they've won the championship 6 times. So, like, this is an incredible team, and it's not like they've lost a bunch of talent either. So, what's happening?
I don't know if it's just motivation or feeling like they've already won the lot, so what's there to play for anymore? Because I mean, like, I would understand that if you kind of like, okay, there's nothing next. I've done it all. But at that point, if you feel like that, you should leave the club. Because if you're feeling like there's nothing to play for, that it's time for you to go somewhere else. Um, and you're right. You look at the players. They didn't lose anyone notable. De Bruyne's playing. They've got Gundogan back on. Bernardo Silva. You've got all like the key midfielders that. Oh, I'm missing Rodri, aren't I?
Yeah, the Ballon d'Or winner, that might be a... But, like, in this team of, like, all these names you've just added, I don't think it should matter that much that you go down to 5th in the Premier League and you lose 4 straight.
No, but how long is Rodri out?
He was been out for a while, I'm pretty sure. I think it's because Kyle Walker
Oh, the rest of the season.
has multiple lovers. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Or is that Foden?
Oh, that's Kyle Walker.
Well,
Um,
yeah, Foden, he would never do that to
no, Foden,
Elway. No
yeah,
way. Ronnie.
no. Um, I mean, Rodri, Man City have been notable that when Rodri's out, they do lose. That in the past few seasons, that's kind of been he is their main player. And, there is a difference between when he plays and when he doesn't. But with that being said, if one player is the sole reason you are winning or losing games, that's not right. Because this team is so full of talent that they need to be able to find someone else in midfield that can replace him and do doesn't need to be good enough, like the same caliber level role as Rodri, but someone that can at least hold down your midfield so you feel like you can win. And you look at players, I've seen so many memes that it'll be like Jack Grealish compared to Arne Slot. Both have 0 goals this season. And one's a
Well, they're not wrong.
no, so many jokes like that. And then you get all the ones on Twitter about Doku and who who's the back that owned him, and check the age of him. And it's always someone that's older. So there's a lot of talk online, and you'll get even everyone's rattled right now. Kyle Walker will post things and say unacceptable, and you'll
Oh, there's some other acceptable things going on with that man, but
yes. And then you get Pep scratching his whole face, saying he wants to kill himself. You get the whole 9 yards.
We love you. Please don't.
Yes, we do.
You know what? He's just upset. He should have taken the U.S. job when he had the chance. It was open for him. It was open right there for anybody. And he said, no, I'm going to sign a new contract. And immediately he signs the new contract with City, and they're City in the mud.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
No
and
remorse, I'm sorry.
What do you do? What do you do? You don't even, I don't think bringing in lots of players is the answer to this. I don't even know what players he would bring in, besides a midfield player. And then there's a change that needs to happen, but I don't think they could ever let go of Guardiola willingly.
No, that would be crazy. They wouldn't fire that man. What did I tell you? 6 titles in the last 7 years.
Yeah,
if you have one bad year,
yeah.
Even if you make if you don't make top 4, it's not the end of the world. I mean, maybe they've got that. They got that oil money. They'll be okay. Okay,
they do.
Let's not. Oh my gosh, Manchester City. They always feel so bad. No, this is a great thing. Okay, I don't want to hear it. I'm happy. I'm happy that that's happening. Okay, very good. So there's a lot of other headlines that we didn't really cover. Nottingham Forest is in the top 4, by the way.
That's huge.
That's do you know why that is? Because I have no clue.
They're very under the radar. I mean, that's the only Liverpool loss this season is to Nottingham Forest. So that was earlier on.
What did I tell you about those tricky trees?
I know they are tricky, but they're kind of like I was saying earlier, they are such a team-oriented team, if that makes sense. They don't let star players, they know how to work well together, and I think that's what's really benefiting them. And they're exciting. They're fun to watch, and you don't really know what you're getting into. So
that's true. Well, you've got not just Forest up there too as a surprise. Bournemouth is 6. Tyler Adams is on that team, so that's. We know the reason why they're up there. Aston Villa aren't really a surprise. They're in the Champions League. They're 7th. No. They should probably be further up, actually. Fulham are 8th. Full America, even though they only have one American player left. And he might not be there for so long. Emma. Jedi Anthony Robinson.
Yes.
Where is he going? The latest rumors I've seen, Man City, Man United, Real Madrid, and Liverpool.
Madrid don't. I don't think he's proven enough for Madrid.
I'm just reading off what I saw on my app this morning.
Yes.
I kind of doubted.
United just bought. I feel like United are just bought too many people. They don't need to buy
Well,
more.
please don't go there either. I don't want to watch
Yeah,
them.
I wouldn't want to watch that either. City,
Don't go to City either, please.
maybe. I mean, I think the most sense would be Liverpool because there's definitely a need. Um,
Vamos!
there's definitely a need.
What's wrong with
And
Robbo?
nothing, but you need a replacement. You need a backup. And right now, you don't
Oh,
really have a
no.
solid.
He won't be a backup, buddy. He is starting over Andy Robertson. Andy
Yeah, but
Robertson will
it's.
be the backup, so
I
you're
know
welcome.
that's bold. But especially, I mean, Robertson was out with a red card. You've got other injuries. Kwanzaa's out. Um, you had Konate's out, obviously. But you have Gomez filling in that role. Occasionally, you have Sycamus, but you don't know if he's totally up to standard sometimes. You had Kwanzaa playing center back, and his run of form hasn't been good lately. So you need to add to that back line defensively, and you need to have people that are willing to step up. So that would be exciting to see, and it would definitely be a challenge for who starts, especially Connor Bradley's out right now. So
Is
yeah,
that the guy who played? They played Madrid in the Champions
yes,
League, and he started, and I
yeah,
was like, wow.
he's good. Yeah,
Well,
the
he's got.
double name,
Yeah, I
the
was about to
double
say
first
that
name.
double those two first names.
I
I
told
mean,
you.
Trent. I mean, has Trent been playing well this season? I don't know because he's got three first names: Trent Alexander Arnold. Now, one of those names is a great name, but when you've got three first names, I mean, it's kind
Yeah,
of
it takes away from the great name. Yeah.
okay.
Um. Yeah, but I'd be excited to see him come to Liverpool. Realistically, hmm,
I don't know. The transfer window opens in January, and he might not even move then. He might stay at Fulham for the rest of the season. So right now
I mean,
we're talking about a hypothetical.
he's been a great player for Fulham, and especially watching him in that Liverpool game, he was amazing.
He's probably
Um,
Fulham's best player this season. He's got
yeah,
6 assists this season, which is tied for third in the league.
yeah, he would cost. I don't know how much he would cost.
Oh, it wouldn't be that in 30.
30 maybe. But
30,
I would say
30 million pounds.
Fulham would want to keep him for the year at least. I think because if they want any hope on moving up some spots, they
Yeah,
would have to keep
if
him.
they want to try and go for Europe
Hmm.
because they're eighth right now. I mean, that's actually a possibility for them, which is
Yeah.
crazy to think about. In Nottingham Forest too. You think about these teams that were in the Championship a couple years ago who are now competing for Europe. It's actually kind of wild.
No, it's been a total upside down.
And Manchester United are 13th.
Yeah, and they just beat City.
Yeah, that's true. That actually added on, and that was kind of a wild match actually, which I did watch. I told you
Yeah.
I've been paying that much attention. I paid attention to that match because City were up 2 or just 1-0, and United get a penalty
Oh
in the
yeah,
last few minutes of the 90, and then and then they score like 2 minutes later. At
that was crazy to
that was
watch.
at the Etihad too. I'm pretty sure. So I'm gonna let you go first because I'm still not sure about
Okay.
mine. Predictions. Who is going to be in the top 4 Champions League at the end of the season?
I wouldn't count City out because if anyone can turn things around, it's them. It's just a matter of when. So I would go Liverpool first to win, Arsenal second,
Mm.
Chelsea third,
Ooh.
and City fourth.
Ooh.
And then probably Forest fifth, but
Hey, that would still be pretty good. I mean, if
yeah.
they can keep that up with another half of the season to go, I don't think
Hmm.
they'll finish that big, but okay. Number 4 for me, I've got Chelsea. And you
Oh,
know what? It's not even a thing of me not like rooting against Chelsea anymore because I feel like they're on the way out with that little boy who replaced the goat.
yeah,
Like,
yeah,
do you know how much better Chelsea would be right now if they kept him instead of
yeah. So
get
much
the
better.
wow. So four, yeah. It's not too hard for me to put that there, even though there's still some hard feelings. Number three, City, because I also think that they're not gonna keep going like the way they are
Yeah.
for the rest of the season. That's actually no. Two, the big 2-1 right here. So two, um, yeah, I'm gonna have to go with Arsenal, and then Liverpool are gonna win the league. I mean, I don't want to say that with you right here. You put the
I
get that
know.
smirk off your face, but they've opened up a pretty big. I mean, they've got a game in hand over
Yeah,
Arsenal. If Liverpool win their next match, if they win the game in hand, they're 9 points up. Can
yeah.
Arsenal make that comeback? With their form right now, I think they've still got some question marks.
Mhm.
I don't think so. So I'm gonna have to go with Liverpool. Unfortunately, I'm kind of sad. I
Don't be
won't be
sad.
sad if Jedi goes and starts though. Then I'll be happy.
Exactly.
Might have
Yeah,
to.
I think it'll all, how Chelsea's playing is gonna factor into where a lot of people end up. Um, and I don't know if they have any big matches coming up. Let's see.
Before we leave the Premier League, we got to talk about the festive fixtures, Emma. I mean, this we got the end of the season. Love me some festive fixtures.
Chelsea do play Fulham on Boxing Day. That's a good game because Fulham have just drawn to Liverpool and Arsenal.
Come on,
And
cottagers.
then they play City in January. It's a good game too.
It's a winnable game.
Hmm.
Love me some festive fixtures.
And last year, may I remind you, last year's City and Chelsea, what was the game where it was like 4-3 and it was insane? That was like one of the best. That was probably the game of the season last year. 4-4. It was the 4-4 game last year. Yeah. So I'm excited for that game actually.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
because that game was crazy. Chelsea tied it. Cole Palmer tied it at the 95th minute with a penalty.
What did I
Because
tell
City
you?
was up. Yeah.
Ice cold.
So I'm excited for that game. That game's going to be really fun.
Unfortunately, we're not done talking about Liverpool because we turn over to the Champions League now. It's table time, and oh, look who's number one again.
I know this is so fun.
Again.
Like
Oh, I'm
we have
sure.
never done this before.
So,
Um,
brand new format for the Champions League this year. We have the league phase now. So, instead of the group stage, so you actually play two more games in this beginning stage. So, they've
and
already
I
played
can't.
six, two more to go. But Emma, Liverpool are the only team who have won all six of their games.
I know that is so fun. Um, Definitely, I can't imagine how frustrating this new format must be for like teams, because playing more games on top of more games must be really hard to do. But
Yeah.
it's been fun to watch. The games have been really good. Liverpool somehow beat Real Madrid in a vengeance game,
Mm-hmm.
which was amazing. And you're seeing teams slip who wouldn't normally slip right now in this league. Because you're looking at PSG, who right now, if you ended today, would be relegated. You're looking at
Yeah. Well,
so many
I
teams.
think they'd be. I don't think it's relegated. I think eliminated. I think that
Yeah,
the
yeah, yeah.
teams, the bottom nine or whatever, like they don't even go to
Um,
the Europa League. They just get cut.
yeah, which is crazy. Um, and then you're looking at, because the majority, just like what, the 16 teams are in move to the playoffs, which is also
More
crazy concept.
games.
Yes, more games.
Mm-hmm.
So you really, honestly, you don't want to be in the playoffs if you're looking to have a good season, because that's just going to be so many games. But you're seeing so many teams in that. You're looking at Dortmund, Bayern, Atletico, AC,
Well, not for
Juventus,
long. I don't know if you're looking at the form guide, but we're on the way up. So
Real Madrid, City. You're looking at teams that are normally top of their group, or yeah, in the old format, who would be top of their group, who are right now in the playoff standings, and who also could be eliminated. Like, they are not safe. You have to realize, like, a lot of these teams are like 1 or 2 points off from the elimination last 8, so they need to win a game. They cannot lose out and still expect to go into the next round.
well, yeah. I mean, PSG is the first eliminated team, so they've got 7 points right now, and City has 8. Real Madrid has 9, and you've still got 2 matches to play. So it's not like you're safe
And
by any means.
PSG play City in the Champions League in January. That's a
Wait a
huge
second.
game.
Wow.
So whoever wins that, you should be guaranteed to go through, probably. In the knockout round, of course. But that's a huge game.
Wow.
Yeah.
So those final 2 match days are at the end of January 21st and 22nd. And then the final match day is the 29th. Every game, 18 matches, all at 3 p.m. Golasso show going to go crazy for that.
I'm very excited.
Ooh. You've got, let's see. Let's look at the matches. Barcelona, Atalanta. Those are 2 teams who are... Where'd Atalanta go? Oh, they're not in the top 8. But Atalanta's still doing pretty well. They're actually number 1 in Serie A right now. Dortmund, Shakhtar. Milan plays Dinamo Zagreb. So, okay. That's 3 points. Inter play Monaco. Man City play Bruges. Liverpool play Eindhoven. That's not an easy match, Emma. And it's in the Netherlands. Let me tell you something about Eindhoven. So Eindhoven are 23rd right now, so they're still in the playoff. And they played Shakhtar Donetsk a couple weeks ago, and they were down 2-0 in the 87th minute until Malik Tillman, USA's very own, came out and he scored twice. First ever American to score twice in a Champions League match. And then...
that's a sad statistic.
Well, history. And then Ricardo Pepi, another American, scored the game winner in the 5th minute of stoppage time. PSV.
That's pretty cool.
America Oven. And they've also got Serginho Dest, who's been out due to injury, so unfortunately. But PSV, 6 points clear of Ajax in the Netherlands. So they've lost.
But unfortunately, only one point clear of elimination in the Champions League.
But that's why I'm telling you, don't be, that last match or day with 18 games.
Honestly, though, I would say if we win the next game and we clinch, the top 8, then we would rest people in the last game.
It's true.
Because there's no reason not to.
They could probably lose both games and still get in the top 8 realistically.
Yeah, we've already guaranteed, like, moving on, but it's not guaranteed whether it's knockout or automatic.
Okay, I see.
Because it's so close. But if we win one more game, I think we are. So that would be nice.
Well, then, okay, I hope that happens, and then you rest players so PSV America Eindhoven can win that match at home and stay in the playoffs. Thank you very much.
You never know. It could happen.
I appreciate it. But we talked about those two. Well, we talked about City struggling, but Real Madrid actually, too. We both watched that game against Liverpool, which was my introduction to Connor Bradley. He had Mbappe on locks on that game, actually.
Yeah, he did.
But so you're talking about the last 2 champions of the competition, Real Madrid and City, who both are struggling. So you've got the top 8 in the playoff who are like seeded teams, and then the bottom 8 are unseeded, and they're unseeded right now. So they're like in that bottom 8. So from what you've seen from Real Madrid right now, because they added Kylian Mbappe to a team that has so many great players, Vinicius, Jude, then the list goes on, and they added
Hmm.
Kylian Mbappe. Is it just like something that hasn't meshed well yet because you've got so much talent up top? Or like what's going on? What did you see in that Liverpool match actually?
Mbappe was quiet. That is what I saw.
Mm-hmm.
Which is huge. But you can never count him out because at the end of the day, it is Mbappe. So, but he's so used to kind of being that star player on a team that I can imagine the adjustment to being around players who on any other team would be the star players um, takes. And I think that's going to take some time to actually gel into the team. But with that being said, he is not for any reason why they've been kind of poor this season, I would say. Because they have other players that can score. They have tons of other players that can score. And if he needs more time to gel, then you just bench him and bring him on, you know? So, yeah.
Well, this doesn't really apply to Real Madrid, but I saw the NBC Premier League studio talking about how, you've got Forest and Bournemouth and Villa up there in the top 10 now of the league. And it's like, well, there's almost not really the characterization, at least this season, of the big six and everybody else
Yeah.
because there's so much money in the Premier League. Premier League makes the most money out of any league. That these other teams that were middle of the road, or even in the championship a few years ago, Fulham even, are starting to almost catch up.
Mm-hmm.
So it's actually kind of,
Yeah,
and
that's true.
we're not just seeing that in England too, because you look at Real Madrid. Real Madrid are third right now in La Liga, behind Barcelona and Atletico, but still you'd
Mm-hmm.
expect them to be top of the top.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, even if other teams are getting better, when you look at this Madrid team, on paper, no one should beat them. And like I I get that people have their off days, whatever, but hypothetically, no one is beating this team if they're all playing at the level that they're capable of.
And they've lost 3 of the last 5 in the Champions League,
Mhm.
including to AC Milan. I don't know if you've ever heard of this team, but they do have a player who's pretty good. You know his name,
Oh, do I?
Rafael Leal? No. Christian Pulisic, the leading goal scorer for or AC Milan, I believe. He's got
Yes.
5 goals this season for the Rossoneri. Um, they've actually struggled in the league, though. They're in 8th, actually, in Serie A in Italy. They're
Mm.
14 points behind Atalanta, and we're not even halfway through the season, so that's
Wow,
gonna.
that's crazy.
So we're actually banking on a really good Champions League performance this year. And you know what? They've won their
Yes,
last 4 matches.
that's good. You never know.
No. Have you seen the documentary?
No, I don't know if I will be watching either, but
Pulisic?
yeah.
Okay. I love the guy. But 2 things. He's
Hmm.
24 years old. Why are we making documentaries about him? He's got over half of his career to go, hopefully.
Yes.
And
Yep.
2, he's kind of a boring, with all due respect to the love of my life, he's kind of a boring guy.
Yeah.
I've seen the trailer. Oh, they've showed me the trailer about 100 times.
A lot of times,
I
actually.
saw the promo for it while I was watching European soccer between Tottenham and Manchester United. I saw the trailer for the Pulisic documentary. So I've seen the
Yeah.
trailer, but I think it's only like there's multiple parts and this is part 1 and they're like promoting the heck out of part 1. So I'm
There is
like
no need to do all
I'm just
that.
going to wait until all the parts are out cuz I want to binge it.
Yeah. Yeah. I
So
mean, I think making a documentary on a player that is still in the prime of his career and might not even have hit the prime of his career is very unheard of and like premature. Like why would we do all this? I understand that he's kind of the one that brought the US men's soccer back on the map and made it a more of a worldwide, well-known team. But wait till he's a little older. Wait until he's close to retirement. I don't know,
I feel
but
like we're just really. This is from CBS. CBS does a lot of great things for soccer, but
yes,
this is a little.
yeah.
Hmm,
I don't know. There's no documentary on Mo Salah, but there's one on Christian Pulisic. It's like,
that's what I was gonna
guys,
ask. I mean, Jude. If we're gonna make
yeah,
documentaries for everybody, Jude, who's 21 years old, but has won.
yeah,
You know, he's won a
everything.
little bit. He's won a couple more games than
Yeah.
Pulisic. But
So,
they've
I
both
mean,
won Champions Leagues, Emma.
that is true.
He just won it with Chelsea. Champions League, you take a look at the top 8. Liverpool, of course, number 1. Barcelona, 2. Arsenal, 3. Leverkusen, Aston Villa, 5th. I feel like Aston Villa are putting all their attention in the Champions League, maybe, which is why they're not doing so well in the Premier League. Because they're
And you
5th,
know
which is
what?
actually
You know what?
crazy.
If they're gonna do that, go for it.
Honestly. Inter, Brest, and Lille. How do you like Brest, Emma?
I'm surprised they're there. And Lille, we play Lille in the next round, actually.
Ooh, so that's
But
not a guaranteed victory.
no,
Mm.
Lille beat Brest. Ooh, they beat them last week or a few weeks ago.
We love Brest on this platform.
This is they're 11th in League One. They're an
Oh, in France,
yeah,
it's actually pronounced Ligue 1.
League in.
Ligue
They're
1.
unheard of, really, within Europe. So I mean, good for them. You're looking at they lost to Barcelona though, who are one of the few
Yeah.
teams ahead of them, but then they beat
Yeah.
RB Salzburg, who aren't having a great season, and they tied with Leverkusen. So
And
yeah, I mean
Salzburg are
that's
about to be eliminated. They've got 3 points.
yeah, yeah. But it's fun when stuff like this happens because, like you're saying, it kind of shows that it's not only the big teams that have success anymore, which is fun to watch.
It might be this new format too, honestly.
Yeah, yeah.
Possibly. We love Brest. So Champions League again returns January 21st and 22nd and the 29th for the final 2 match days of the league phase. Moving off of current European soccer, Emma, last week we just saw that FIFA released
Yes.
the hosts. We knew it was going to be these countries, so it's not a surprise. But they officially announced the host for the upcoming World Cups. 2026 has already been confirmed. United States of America. Very excited for that, of course. Canada and
Yes.
Mexico as well. But 2030, so you thought 3 countries was a lot for the World Cup. Try 6, because
Yeah.
that's the 2030 World Cup. So you've got Morocco, Portugal, and Spain. But then you've also got Argentina, Paraguay, and Uruguay, who are also going to host matches on the other side of the planet, which they're doing because 2030 is the 100th anniversary of the first World Cup, which took place in South America. So they're hosting, each of those 3 countries is hosting 1 match at the beginning of the competition to celebrate the centennial. And then they're moving over to Europe and Africa. So I want to get your thoughts first, because this actually pisses me off a little bit.
Yeah. Like, it's a very cool idea. Like, and I like that they're paying tribute to the 100-year mark, and like that very nice concept. The concept should not be put into plan. Like, I think it's very unfair for the teams that are going to have to play in those games.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's unfair to the viewers almost. That's very different times. And it's a bit I don't know if it's unfair to those countries, but like if you wanted to really honor this, why didn't we just hold the World Cup there?
So that's what I'm saying. So they put in a separate bid, those South American countries, other than
Yeah,
the Morocco, Portugal, and Spain who had a joint bid. And FIFA just said, let's combine them instead of pick one.
yeah. I don't know
Host
why.
host the World Cup in South America,
Yeah.
which makes me angry.
And what's worse is I think this like opens the door for so much more to come in the future with country hopping, whatever, whatnot. But yeah, I think it's just, we can already see that it's all a money game. And, but and besides, money over players' well being, but
Gianni would
I think it's just going to
never.
get worse. No.
Today he feels. What is he
Um,
feeling today? Rich. So
yeah.
yeah, I'm a little. I don't understand. I guess I do understand why they want the centennial, but just hold it in South America and then do
Yeah.
Morocco, Portugal, and Spain in 2034.
Yeah.
Oh, but let me tell you why they didn't do that. Because there's this country in the Middle East. I don't know if you've ever heard of it. It's called Saudi Arabia.
Hmm.
That also bid for 2034. And what does Saudi Arabia have? A lot of oil money for Gianni and his friends. So,
Yeah.
what FIFA did to ensure that Saudi Arabia could get the 2034 World Cup is give 3 games to South America so that South America would be disqualified from bidding for the 2034 World Cup. So that the
Hmm.
only confederation that could bid was the Asian Confederation. So you
Yeah.
had Saudi Arabia and Australia. And Australia was like, okay, I think I see where this is going. And so they just dropped
Yeah.
it. Like, just. And this is supposed to be this great thing. Cristiano Ronaldo's like, oh, everybody's going to love Saudi. Are you kidding me? I mean, come
There,
on.
there's been a push in the past 5, 10 years for 5 years probably for Saudi ball, and you see a lot of the older players who are well known go to Saudi,
Hmm.
and we could all see where this was going. It was a long road. We all knew the ending, but there's a lot of from another perspective of people saying like the World Cup is for the entire world. It shouldn't just be in Western parts of the world and etc. And I understand that point, but there is so much potential good that FIFA could do for the country if they were just to be like, we're not going to host our events there until you pass certain laws that make it safer for
Or you
people living
clean
there,
up your human
women
rights issues.
living there. Yeah, ethical laws that could be passed if FIFA was a morally grounded organization, which we know they are not. So
What?
there's just a lot. It's just frustrating, I think.
And also the thing about, you know what, maybe I'll eat crow after 2026. But the
Yeah.
World Cup was perfect with 32 teams. And now we have
Hmm.
48. Like, at this point, just put all 200 countries in the freaking World Cup. Because
Yeah.
apparently that's what FIFA wants to do. They want to include it for all. It's like, come on. We don't want
Yeah.
to watch crappy teams play in the biggest competition. You have qualifiers for a reason. You know
Hmm.
what I'm saying?
And what's the other point is Saudi's going to have to be hosted in the winter, I
Oh my
assume,
gosh. Well, actually, you know
because
what?
unless they have insanely air conditioned life in
Well,
air conditioned world, um,
I don't know if you've seen
then
the renderings for these stadiums, but they're.
they're massive. Yeah.
Yeah, well, it's probably. I mean, the things look like physically impossible. Like, I don't think
Yeah.
half of them are going to look like that. So, it
But
probably is going to have
if
to happen in the winter.
if we're playing in the winter, then it breaks up the season, and then the players don't really get rest. And then there's a lot no holiday fixtures. What about our
No
holiday
festive
fixtures?
fixtures! No!
And I will say, like, yeah, it was fun to watch the World Cup, in winter. Some for my perspective, sure. Um,
Well,
but
it
it just
worked out.
really,
Yeah, it worked
yeah,
out really well last time because
uh
England and the US matched up on Black Friday, and so we
yeah.
got like one of the biggest soccer ratings ever. So it worked
Mhm.
out. But typically, it why would we have it in November instead of June and July?
And isn't
Prime
that hard
months.
for players? Isn't that like, because then you need to be training with the team when you're like your international team, when you're in your club team, and then the club season gets broken up. And it's just like, it's not fair, I guess. And why change things when they've been running okay for the past forever?
A little while. Don't
Yeah,
break what's not broken.
yeah. Don't
Or
fix what's not broken.
don't fix what's not broken. Yeah. Whatever. You know what? 2026 is going to be
It could
we'll
also
see.
be a mess. It could also be a mess. I mean, like, the US does not have the facilities to hold giant events, and we've seen that. And we do not have the transportation systems. We do not
Well,
have.
that was CONMEBOL, please. You know, I mean, get into the stadium correctly.
But
Come on.
I, yeah, I'm excited to see it, and hopefully, I want to attend some games if we can even afford it, because we're gonna be priced out of games. But anyways, um,
Yeah, we're gonna have to put our life savings down. I hope you don't think
yes,
about living in a house anytime in your
nope,
life
there's no such
we're
thing as
using
buying
it
a
for
house
the
in the
World
slums.
Cup.
Yep, and sell your car too while you're at it.
Hmm.
Um, but you can't sell your car because there's no public transportation, unfortunately. So,
Oh, damn.
yeah, but it'll be fun, and hopefully, it will set precedent that maybe we shouldn't have it in a lot of different areas that are far away from each other. But you never know. Maybe they're going to go to the US and Mexico and Canada, and they're going to be like, no, we're going to start having World Cups that go on 7 continents at this point.
Let's just have one on Antarctica.
Yeah, we're going to have the Centennial Global birthing, and then they're going to be like, we're going to have it on every continent, and it's going to be a year long. Yep.
It'll be
So,
great. We love it. Johnny will say it's the greatest World Cup ever,
right.
and he feels
And that
happy.
way, every continent has to bid, so he gets 7 times the money. I mean, it's brilliant.
Wow,
Yeah.
it's a
The more
mind
you know,
game.
I'm gonna be hired for FIFA in the morning. Just wait.
Not after the things you've said on this podcast. um, so yeah, I mean, 1994 when the World Cup was here is still the most attended World Cup ever. So so FIFA knows they're gonna make some bank when
Yeah,
it
they're
comes
gonna
in
make a
here.
lot of money.
So oh, we love it. Let's close out, Emma, by staying in an international game. I think you're excited about your other team too. Is this like the most excited you've been about your teams in the 4 years that we've done this podcast?
Honestly, like, yeah. I mean, my U.S. football team is doing okay.
Oh,
My
well,
UK
that's not what
football
I meant.
team is doing great, but all my teams, my international team, I mean, are they? Am I still sad about the Euros? Maybe.
Um,
Am I still? Did we ever deserve to win that game? No, there was never a chance. I don't know how we got that far, but
easy
but with
draw.
that, yeah, um, I am excited. Um, I
Well,
think that
let's talk
we have.
about England
Yeah.
for just a sec. They have a new manager,
Mm-hmm.
Bayern Munich's
Thomas.
Thomas Tuchel. We're both very familiar with Thomas, I think.
Yeah.
And have you know what? They've already managed a success with him because they've moved
Yeah.
out of League B in the Nations League. They're back in League A. Congratulations.
Coming home to League A.
Yes.
Um, Thomas Tuchel, I'm excited for. Um, obviously, I think there was a little bit of sadness not having a British manager, just because you want some pride. It's nice to have pride, but and
Okay. Well, you
you
had a
also don't want
British
to get
manager for 8 years, and how'd that? I mean, you went to finals, but did you win anything? No. So.
hope, lots of hope. Um, but I'm excited. We've got a really strong squad. I like that we're kind of switching up the players because historically with Southgate, it was the same lot of players, and he was not very interested in trying any new ideas. um, so I think it'll be fun to watch, and as long as um, I think our only weak spots, goalkeeping, is a
Not
little
Jordan Pickford, no way.
is a little, and then our back line could be improved some, but
Well, Jedi was British eligible too, but didn't want
yeah,
him. Chose America. Thank you.
okay. Um, but especially watching Chelsea on the rise has been really beneficial to England because they do have a lot of English players that could be crucial to the team. So it's exciting.
That is true. They've got some big matches coming up in March. World Cup qualification, Emma. Albania and Latvia. Two big ones. I don't
I know.
know. I don't know how it's going to go.
I don't know either, but
And
you know,
Andorra is in their group, I believe, as well.
I don't know how we got this lineup, but
Are you gonna qualify for the World Cup? I mean, oh my gosh.
I've seen Stranger Things happen, so
I think
I'm not even
I
sure.
think they'll be okay. But you know what? I
Yeah.
think we're both excited about our national teams because the U.S.
Hmm.
also have a new manager. You remember
Yes.
the Chelsea manager who I talked about? It was going pretty
They were
well.
both Chelsea managers.
They were both Chelsea
Super and
and
Watch.
PSG managers.
That is crazy. Do you think they're friends?
Oh.
They're probably friends.
Mauricio is from Argentina. Thomas is from Germany. I guess that doesn't matter. I'd like to think. I want to see them meet up, and I want to see if
Me
they,
too.
show hands or if they hug.
Yeah.
Hmm. But you remember the Chelsea manager last year when they started to go really well, and they were like, let's just get rid of him anyway. That was Mauricio Pochettino. He is now the manager of the United States men's national team, and you know what? He has already done something in 2 games that it took Greg Berhalter however many years he was here. So in the quarterfinals of our Nations League, CONCACAF Nations League, they beat Jamaica in both legs. So they beat him at home and away. And so Pochettino has one road win against the CONCACAF opponent, which ties Greg Berhalter's total in all the years he was here for road
Poor
wins
guy.
against the CONCACAF team. So
Poor
you know what?
Greg. He tried his best.
we I'm very I'm excited though because it looks like a bunch of our players are starting to grow into form. A couple of them have been suffering
Hmm.
injuries recently, but Pulisic, he's injured right now as well, which is
Yeah.
great for the documentary coming out for CBS and Paramount Plus. But
Bad
before
timing.
he was injured, he was in the best form he's probably ever been with the argument for lockdown Pulisic right after
Hmm.
the COVID lockdowns when he was incredible for Chelsea. But right now he's been incredible. You've got, I mean, Jedi has been the best player for Fulham. He's getting talk from City and United and Liverpool. Ricardo Pepe has done really well, and Malik Tillman for PSV Eindhoven. Weston, you were the one who told me about the goal for Juventus, Weston McKennie.
I have to say
Little,
that, and it was what's his name who assisted him?
it was Tim Weah who assisted.
Yeah,
American to American.
it was a really good goal, and weren't they playing City?
Yes, they beat
Yeah,
City.
that's why I was watching. Um,
Great
yeah,
game.
but it was amazing. It was actually really good. I saw that, and I had to text you. I was like, oh my goodness, what did I just witness?
And you know what? McKinney can play any position too, because he played left
He
back in the
Yeah.
Coppa Italia earlier this week against Cagliari for Juve.
Is he coming back off injury?
Well, kinda, but also he's like, it's really weird because he's been at Juventus for a couple years, but like
Hmm.
every off season they're like, no, he's not in the picture anymore, and so they want to transfer him, but he never gets transferred, and then like he'll go on this crazy run of form for a couple games, and they're like, why would we ever transfer him? And then like he goes away. So hopefully we're in a position where that doesn't repeat itself, and he stays in good form right now, along with Tim Weah, who's also in good form.
Hmm.
Um, it's really weird.
Yeah.
It's really weird that Juventus's nickname is the Old Lady. Did you know that?
Really? No.
I like the Rossoneri much better. Like,
Oh, Weah picked up a thigh injury.
oh, well, that's wonderful. And Balogun's injured until February. Serginho Dest tore his ACL. So at least the World Cup's not this coming year. It's the next year. So hopefully we're all healthy
Yeah.
and good to go. Because a lot of our best
Nothing.
players have gotten injured recently. But it feels like we've got more players than ever before who are not just playing but competing and excelling at top clubs in Europe. Johnny Cardoso just scored for Real Betis today in the Conference League. Another guy.
Nice.
So it's like, you know what? And we have a manager finally who's not going to pick MLS players just cuz. You know?
Yeah. Finally.
So it's just, you know what? I'm very excited. So the next time we see competitive US matches is in March too, same time frame, the international window, for the finals of our Nations League, because, you know, we make the finals of our Nations League. We play Panama in the semifinal, and then either Mexico or Canada in the final or the third place game if we lose. But there's been 3 editions of the CONCACAF Nations League, Emma Adams, and the US has won all 3. So
Oh.
I'm thinking a 4th is on the way in
Well,
LA.
we'll have to see. We'll have to see.
We'll see. Is Penn
Yeah,
still
must have.
playing for Portugal? Is that still a thing?
Yeah.
Because they keep benching him, but he still plays for them. Messi, on the other hand, just won another trophy, Copa America, and he's still going to play. And he's, well, actually,
Okay.
he's
But
MLS
hold on.
MVP. Did he deserve MLS MVP? Probably not. But
No.
they gave it to him. He played half the season.
I would say, though, that there's more talent in the Euros than Copa America. And there's more teams, period. So
That's true.
it's a little harder to win.
Okay.
But for the first time in a while, I feel like Uruguay and Colombia were real competitors. So it was a harder.
Copa America was fun to watch, with the exception of the U.S. Hey, but you know what? All due respect to Greg, but the Copa America is what let him go. And so ultimately, praise be to those. Praise be to Matt Crocker for it's so crazy because he was the sporting director who rehired Greg Berhalter, and then he hires Mauricio Pochettino. It's like, oh, so you actually do know what you're doing. Very nice. And he's the one who hired Emma Hayes, best coach, best women's coach.
That's huge. That's huge. That they England versus U.S. women's played a few weeks ago, and they ended in a draw.
I saw. Emma, I feel like that's all the soccer talk we can muster for 2024 as we wrap up this great year of soccer. 2025.
It has been good.
New Year's resolution for 2025. What is your soccer based New Year's resolution?
I would love if Liverpool won a trophy that's either the Premier League or the Champions League. I don't expect both.
You don't care about the FA Cup?
No, we won the EFL last year, so we don't need to do it again if we don't have to. But I mean, we are in the semis now, so we might. But I would love the Champions League or the Prem, and I would love to be there. That's my hope for 2025.
Beautiful. My hope is that the U.S. wins the Nations League and the Gold Cup. I forgot to tell you about the Gold Cup this summer,
what's
which is the CONCACAF Gold Cup. So it's the CONCACAF version of the Euros, but it happens every 2 years for whatever reason. And we've got a special guest coming this year. Special guest team. Can you guess which country is coming to play in the Gold Cup?
Spain.
No. It was just announced today, Thursday, actually.
Are they not part of CONCACAF?
No.
Oh.
But Spain isn't, so that was an okay guess.
I know. So now I'm like, I'm trying to think of like random. Maybe I don't know, something in Africa. I don't know.
A country we talked about earlier.
Albania, Latvia.
No, no. We're gonna invite Latvia. No.
Germany. No.
Saudi Arabia.
Actually,
there's no way you guessed. Saudi Arabia. Hey, well, you know what? The last couple times it was Qatar. So
they were playing in the Gold Cup?
Mm-hmm. Saudi Arabia is joining this year and 2027, the next Gold Cups. It'll be great. And you know what? So the Gold Cup will be taking place at the same time in the western half of the U.S. mostly as the Club World Cup takes place in the eastern half of the U.S., which I know everyone is so excited for because Gianni Infantino's name is on the trophy. Did you see that?
No.
Make your mark, brother. Make your mark.
That's funny. I can't believe it. Why would CONCACAF invite someone who's not in CONCACAF?
I'll give you one guess.
Money. Yep.
Guess who's a top sponsor of CONCACAF? It's Aramco, which is Saudi Arabia's oil company.
Yeah.
So, and Qatar Airways. That too. We love being morally acceptable in CONCACAF. We love it.
I know. I do too.
Oh, Emma, that is all the soccer talk we can do for 2024. I'll see you in 2025. Thanks for coming on the podcast.
Of course. We'll be back to bring all the joy in the new year.
Zander's Facts.
And those are all the facts that we could muster on a single episode of Zander's Facts. Thanks again to our Zander's Facts soccer guru, Emma Adams, for coming on episode 143 of Zander's Facts. Thank you all for listening or watching to this episode of Zander's Facts. Thank you all for another great year of Zander's Facts. As we wind down 2024, we are going to have more facts for you in newsletter form, in podcast form, in all the forms you can think of in 2025. So make sure you be on the lookout for any new videos we've got coming out in the near future. And as always, make sure you follow Zander's Facts on any of our social media channels. We are on YouTube as well. That's where you can watch this podcast. And you can follow Zander's Facts if you're listening to the podcast on your favorite podcasting platform. But that is it for me. I'm Zander. These have been the facts, and we'll see you next time.